What if running OpenHarmony on RISC-V was actually easy? This is the SpaceMIT Muse Pi Pro. It can run both Linux and OpenHarmony, and in this video I'll show you how to flash it, how to boot it, and how to get started, and why this board might be the easiest way right now to play around with OpenHarmony. Let's go. At the heart of the Muse Pi Pro is the SpaceMIT M1, an 8-core 64-bit RISC-V processor with built-in AI acceleration. And this is a good moment to explain what RISC-V actually is. RISC-V isn't a brand of chip, it's an open instruction set, meaning the architecture itself is free to use, modify and build on. Unlike ARM or x86, there is no licensing fee, which is why RISC-V is becoming especially important for open platforms like OpenHarmony. In terms of hardware, this board is surprisingly capable. You can configure it with 8 or 16 gigabytes of LPDDR4X memory, up to 128 gigabytes of eMMC, and even add the NVMe SSD via M2 if you want more storage. You get HDMI output, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth, Gigabit Ethernet, 4 USB 3 ports, and a full 40-pin GPIO header. So it works well both as a development board and as an embedded platform. What makes this combination interesting isn't raw performance, it's the fact that you're getting modern I/O, Linux support, and OpenHarmony compatibility on real RISC-V hardware in a board that's still small, accessible, and developer-friendly. Now it's time to install an operating system on the Muse Pi Pro. SpaceMIT provides an official flashing tool called TitanFlash, and it can flash either directly to the board or to a micro SD card. My unit actually came preloaded with OpenHarmony, so I decided to set things up a bit differently. I flashed Bianbu Linux onto one SD card and OpenHarmony onto another, so I can easily switch between them. The flashing process itself is very straightforward and it doesn't take long. SpaceMIT provides plenty of ready-to-use images on their website, and in my case, flashing an SD card took about around 6 to 7 minutes from start to finish. And you see here, we are finished. Time to install it and boot up our device. So first remove the electricity, and then down here we can see our micro SD slot. Insert, put the electricity back and boot up. Let's go. Alright, so we are booting. I'll speed up this footage a little bit. So first time you boot into Bianbu, you enter a setup screen, so you can choose languages. English is available. There's a lot of keywords available, and here's the hardest decision, to name your computer. And after that, you are good to go. You ask for a reboot, and then you get back into the system again. And when we log in here, let me set up the Wi-Fi a little bit quick. You can see this looks kind of nice. It's a nice little distro, and it's a Debian-based Bianbu. And as you can see here, if we write uname A, we can see we have a RISC-V processor, and it's Linux 6.6.63. And since it's Debian, we have apt. So let me set up apt here, update apt, and see if we can install fast fetch to get some more system information. Right. Go. So fast fetch Debian, so we're running Wayland OpenBox, and we have as you can see 8 gigabytes of memory, 64 gigabytes of storage. That's our memory card. I guess no, it's not a memory card, this is our internal card. Our memory card is also 64, and it's pretty competent. You can use this for a lot of your development needs, or if you want to set up a small web server, or if you want to do home assistance projects or stuff like that, this should be enough. I have recently done a couple of home assistant projects with the Raspberry, so I think maybe I will try this with the SpaceMIT 2. Maybe I'll try this with Muse Pi Pro 2. Let's see if we can play some videos here. So since I'm still in China and there's no VPN on this one, YouTube won't work, but let's see Billy. Let's search for a channel. It's a little bit slow, but I would love to have the 16 gigabyte memory edition, but it still works quite nice. This type of computer is you're supposed to develop something and let it run without UI basically. So, but we can play videos here, it looks like. It's a bit slow. I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi or it's the computer itself, but it seems to be working at least. Great video here on Billy. Let's play. What's going on? Play. Okay, yeah. Now it's play. All right. There's no sound on, but I assume the sound is working. I haven't connected my sound. That's that. Let's try OpenHarmony. That's why we're here. But I think this will be good enough. It's Linux. We can do anything. So here we have our OpenHarmony SD card. So let's just insert it and insert the power again, and then we should be good to go with OpenHarmony. All right, so right off the bat here we can see that the dates is not correct, but whatever. Okay, so this looks very much not like a desktop, and this looks like a touchpad interface, I would say. So yeah, we are connected to the VLAN. That's good. Let's explore a little bit here. Also settings. Let's see our version here. We are on OpenHarmony 5.0.0.71. This is quite a little bit old version. There's some other settings. I see there's language here. Okay, so maybe there's more languages except Chinese. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, good. English, perfect. So as you can see, it is a little bit weird. You have a SIM card and 11% battery. I'm not sure what that is. There is no battery in this device, but it's running OpenHarmony. So I think this is meant for a really small screen. Looks like a small touch screen that you can install and use in maybe in a factory or in some small app, dedicated app. As you can see here, this FO OpenHarmony is discontinued. So yeah, and this is some installed apps we have. But yeah, I think this version is a little bit old. But at least it's running OpenHarmony. You can see a screen resolution. We have 800 x 480. Yeah, and there's the only thing we can have. We have 17%. But let's switch over to Windows and see if we can deploy anything on this one. So here I have a OpenHarmony project I had before. It's like a Hello World. I pimped it a little bit for OpenHarmony, or for this one in particular, my RISC-V. So up here you can see we have our device, K3. And now if we play this one, we should be able to deploy it. And yeah, you can see, yeah, well, there we go. So here it is. This is an app developed for OpenHarmony. And yeah, it's very simple. Basically, it's a Hello World. But this is very interesting to me. I think this is the first kind of device I had, a real device where I can develop and deploy immediately. So this is perfect for learning, developing, and getting better on OpenHarmony development. So awesome. I also asked SpaceMIT what's coming next, and they told me they're planning to release their next generation K3 processor in the first half of next year. And alongside that, they're aiming to launch OpenHarmony 6.1 as well. While I'm rummaging through what's included in the box here, it's a good moment to talk briefly about pricing and positioning. The Muse Pi Pro isn't a budget board, but it's also not priced out of reach. Depending on configuration, memory, storage, and accessories, it generally sits around the level of a well-equipped Raspberry Pi style setup, which feels reasonable for a RISC-V hardware with this level of software and OpenHarmony support. I'll put links and more detailed information down in the description. Overall, I think this is a great little board if you want to experiment with OpenHarmony without spending a lot of money. And it's going to be interesting to see next generation. But that's it. See you again. Bye-bye.